Well, g'day there and welcome along to the BYC podcast live from the Export Beer Garden studios. It's a podcast that is riddled with the vid. There's people dying of the vid. There's people sick with the vid. And those people are Paul Ford and Jason Hoyt. Jason Hoyt's managed to avoid the vid for the past 2 years, but it's finally got him. I did text him and, if there's one person that's going to keel over with the vid, it's going to be Jason Hoyt, but he's good, he's fine. He said his voice is a bit croaky, which seems to me that it'd be even deeper than it is. So those pipes are getting even deeper, but he's on the mend.
That's a golden voice. It's worth a lot of money, that voice.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a pleasure to welcome along Dylan Cleaver and Andrew Alderson stepping in for Jason Hoyt and for Paul Ford. And I'm just stepping in because Jason Hoyt's obviously on his deathbed. But shit the bed, boys. What a story that broke this morning. Andrew Alderson, you were on the front line of that story breaking. Fill us in.
Yes, so desperately ringing around and sort of getting a few bits and pieces together on that one. But Kane Williamson has stepped down as New Zealand Test captain. Going to continue in the limited overs formats. But that really is the end of an era.
Yeah.
And I've seen some notes here from my good chum here, Dylan Cleaver, about Kane Williamson abandoning ship.
Yeah, well, not quite abandoning ship, but he's gone from the bridge down to what is it, steerage class?
Yeah, he's no Edward Smith, is he, on the Titanic? He's, yeah. I mean, I can understand why he might want to do that.
Yeah.
I thought he would. I thought that the Test one would be the last to go.
Yeah.
But maybe go for the T20s and ODI first. But he's opted the one that takes the most of his time up, and he can now concentrate as a batter, which a number of others have done, I suppose. If you look around the world with.
Is it? I mean, Matt Heath's got a theory. He's got a lot of theories, Matt Heath, but his one was quite good in the fact that, he's renowned for a man who just loves throwdowns, loves practicing, loves actually the game, loves batting, and he's probably been punished with so many selection meetings, so many strategy meetings, so many meetings about this, so many meetings about that, being bored shitless by Gary Stead in the hotel room, that he actually just wants to go back and just play a bit of cricket and just do what he does and loves, and gets getting throwdowns in the nets and then scoring runs.
I think this could be in the top category of Matt Heath theories.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm liking that.
I did think he was correct. I just shut up. Most theories I say shut up, Matt, but that one there actually seemed pretty legit.
Well, most involve animals, not humans.
This is true. This is the one, but he did have a thing at the end of it around the sexy camel, but I left that out. And what about you, Dylan Cleaver? Like, it was a surprise to you? You're quite close to. You've written a book with him.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm close to him, but I did co-author a coaching manual with him. And yeah, look, he's a lovely guy. I've got a lot of time for him. I'm disappointed, I'll be honest with you there. I would have rather him give away the white balls, but white ball captaincy, but that's my bias there. Yeah. I just love Test cricket. I prefer Test cricket. I think he's by far and away our best Test captain. I look at, look, he's got 2 young children. I know all this, I know, and
I got 3 young children. I'm still here.
Yeah, he doesn't particularly like doing the media stuff or any of that. Totally. But I look at Steve Fleming. I think he captained 280-something matches. I think Kane might be up to 84 across all formats. I just wonder if he could just start having a few early nights if he's a bit tired.
And so, but the interesting decision, his replacement was announced. Everyone, and in the Agenda podcast, which was recorded right in the breaking of this news, we all assumed that it was going to be Tom Latham.
The head boy?
Yeah,
yep.
The head boy. Everyone just presumed that, and I did say that was a bit disappointing if that was happening, but it's going to be the sexy camel, Tim Southee. He's going to be playing Bazball against Bazball.
That's right, and how many New Zealand captains, I'm trying to think, have been pace bowlers? Be very, what?
No,
Jeff Raybone going back in the day?
No, he was a dribbler.
Was he?
Yeah, he was mainly a sort of doer batsman and a little bit of a dribbly bowler.
Dion Nash had a spell momentarily.
Yeah.
Stephen Fleming was away.
Who's going to be his deputy? Because who's going to be the dude that's going to go, hey, Timmy?
It is Latham.
It is Latham.
Officially the deputy,
okay.
Yeah.
So he's going to be going, hey, dude, can you stop bowling?
He's first officer, Latham.
I think given that Southee has been the lieutenant to Williamson for so long, it'll effectively flip around. And Williamson will still have a say.
Yes.
In this way, he still has some influence over the team. And, it's a guy who's been loyal to him over the years.
Yeah.
And you have that balance between, say, Northern Districts and Canterbury. Gary Stead is the coach from Canterbury with the selection calls as well. And that way, it's just more balance to it. You don't, this sort of that veto element.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting because England are going to come out here.
Yeah.
Brendan McCullum coached England team that has gone bananas with Test cricket. They're kind of treating Test cricket like T20 cricket, and it's working so far for them. They're going to come out here, and knowing Tim Southee a little bit and seeing him play off the field and on the field for the past 10, 15 years, it's going to be very hard for him not to try and match Baz at Bazball, if you know what I mean. And they're good mates as well. They know each other pretty well. I reckon Baz could get into his head pretty easily. It's going to be a fascinating series to see how he approaches that.
It sure is. It'll be a change of style, potentially, if Tim is to stamp his own mark on it. And that would be probably the more, sort of more risk. Taking more risks in that environment. So it's
really intriguingly. If we go back in time, Brendan McCullum missed out on the captaincy for New Zealand. They had that silly presidential runoff with him and Ross Taylor, for which there was only ever going to be one winner. But part of the reason they didn't give it to Brendan was they said they didn't like his choice of vice captain, which at that point was Tim Southee, who was not long after a controversial flight to the World Cup, I believe, in 2011. Right. And they thought that it was just crazy that Brendan would want this kid who was seen as slightly a loose cannon as his vice captain. And that apparently was one of the reasons he was given why he didn't get the job.
All right.
Well, I think, to be fair to Tim, though, he's matured an incredible amount that time in the team, and is really a respected member of the world international cricketing community in how he goes about the game. And I would never have picked Tim Southee when he started out. I would never have said that guy as a captain in waiting. But in recent years, that's changed, and he's really accepted that mantle as being a senior player, and gone on with it.
And I think some of the young guys still fear him a little bit. Like, I wouldn't call him a bully, but he is that guy, I think, that can still cut you down to size a little bit.
Yeah.
I just think it's a good call. He's a brilliant bowler, adaptable across formats. In my opinion, he's the best fast bowling fielder I've ever seen, and that includes your Michael Holdings, your Jimmy Andersons. I think his work in the outfield and in the slips is
incredible set of hands.
Is incredible.
Infield or outfield, that's right.
Yeah, and the one element that I think is probably gone backwards at a rate of knots is his batting. But maybe this will be the prod that he needs.
Has his batting gone backwards, or was he just extremely lucky in his debut against England? Because he's batting the same as he did in that game against England than he does today. There was nothing about that innings in England that said that.
That's
true.
You know what I mean?
I think he's a bit scared of the ball now than he was.
Well, everyone, where's he get older?
Do you think he might elevate himself up the order, move up to 7 perhaps?
Well,
or down the order. Maybe he'll decide, no, this is my moment to.
I saw him drop himself. Play Jack. I saw himself dropping down the order in a few of those one-dayers against India. I think he was captain. He came in at like 9 or something, or 9 or 10. I think he had put Matt Henry ahead of him and a few others. But anyway, but looking back at Steady the Ship, fairly successful captain, Dylan Cleaver.
Oh, monumentally so. Yeah. Just look at the numbers, 58% win rate, which is just miles ahead of, I think Tom Latham's probably second on that with just under 50.
Jeff Howe, 37 after that. McCullum, 36.
McCullum, 36. Lee Jamon, 8. Curly Page, 0. Sir Walter Hadley, well, actually, no, I don't think he was knighted ever, was he? But he had a regal air about him.
Yeah.
Lee Jamon, Jesus.
So
those numbers stack up anywhere, don't they? They're incredible numbers. But it's also the series built up over a number of years, and it's the World Test Championship, the inaugural Test Championship, and that's cemented its place in history.
Absolutely.
Forever.
We're world goddamn champions, and people keep forgetting that.
We're going to be the first name on that trophy forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's a big part of that. I don't think he was a perfect captain. I think that you could question some of his work with spinners. But
in terms of using spinners, or?
In terms of using them, in terms of field sets for them. But
have we ever had a spinner that's been capable enough under his reign, though?
Well, Ajaz,
I'd say.
Ajaz, yeah.
I don't think he's done great work with Ajaz, if we're being brutally honest. But he's still, head and shoulders. He's the first one chiselled onto Mount Rushmore, as far as I'm concerned.
And Ish Sodhi.
Yeah.
Getting the nod, coming back into the ranks.
The triumphant return of Ish Sodhi. How do you think that's come about?
I think they watched what happened in Multan. they're playing a test in Moulton.
Yeah.
And the young kid from Pakistan came in. The guy,
Abrar Ahmed.
Yep.
Yeah, Abrar Ahmed or Ahmed, who took 11 wickets on debut. And I think they feel they need some wristbin, and the kid from Auckland's only played one first-class game. Aditya Ashok, he's not ready yet. Although I think
he's handy, though. I watched him play some limited overs games last year, I think.
Yeah.
And he's handy. He bowls at a good clip as well.
I think they're just waiting for him.
Yeah.
But it's probably not quite...
Yeah. You don't want to send me to Pakistan for Christmas.
And Ripon, I guess, is the other option.
That would be a terrible debut tour, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Christmas in Lahore. I mean, man, they really hate you if they do that.
There's a book in that. I think the other guy they probably looked at was Michael Ripon, the left arm wrist spinner, and I think he went on a tour to India recently.
An A tour?
Yeah, he's played some limited overs games. So
limited overs, and he's played for Netherlands limited overs, but I'm not sure they think that he's quite got the quality.
Would be an intriguing steer, because I think, discussing this earlier on this morning, but I think he'd be the first left arm wrist spinner to play a Test New Zealand outside of Sutcliffe, as in I can't think of anyone else of that discipline.
Left arm wristy, because you can't say Chinaman anymore, can you?
You can't.
No. Okay. I just did, but but I'm saying it to say to people you can't say it.
Yeah.
Anyway, and you're cricketing wide on. He's going to get a test appearance, do you think? Glenn Phillips?
Well, he's definitely in the squad. Yeah. I don't know. Look, it'll be interesting to see what they do. I think that Devon Conway will move back up the order to open, and Mitchell will take that number 4 slot.
So who are you opening with? Are you opening with
I'm opening with
Conway, Latham.
Conway, Latham, Williamson, Mitchell, Nichols, and does Phillips get a run in there? I don't know.
Is he a spin option as well?
If you're taking out Young at the top.
Yeah, and I quite like it. I think Young should be in a battle with Nichols for number 5. I think that's probably his more natural home. I never thought he was suited to opening, but I might be jumping the gun here.Maybe they do open with him, but
well, if you push Conway up, you've got 2 left-handers, but that shouldn't negate that. I mean, Wright, Edgar.
Yeah,
it should just be
Langer,
who's best
Hayden.
conditioned. Yeah, who's best conditioned to open, and I just feel like Conway's technique is just that next level, isn't it? For that level of play.
Who's taking the gloves?
that'll be Blundell.
Blundell. Oh yeah. Cowboys in there on the gloves. How many spare keepers have we got in there? We've got Conway. We've got
Phillips.
Latham.
Phillips.
Has an international team ever had so many backup keepers?
That's a good point.
It's one of the great. Normally, a team is scrambling. They're like, oh, fuck.
I'm sure there was one game we had 4. I'm sure we had McCallum, Ronke was brought in for a test at Headingley, I think, and Watling played as a specialist batsman. We had McCallum in there and Latham. So we had 4.
That's right.
We had 4 wicket keepers in the 111.
Exactly.
But like a social cricket team, and like I think it was probably a few years ago, it's like the backup keeper was always like some top order batsman that could, and everyone always dreaded it. Oh, John Wright, Jesus Christ, John Wright's behind the stumps or something like that.
Jock Edwards.
And it's like it's the bugbear for every social cricket team is you've got to have a mate who's a keeper, but because if you don't, then you're scrambling because everyone's getting hit in the knees and the shins and breaking fingers. It's a real pain in the ass not having a keeper. And here we go, got 5 of them just in one team.
Waiting.
Yeah, I reckon they had exactly that same conversation at Test level, Mike. You know, so.
Well, I think it actually might have cost the ACC a game against the Media Works.
Yes, it did actually. I absolutely skinned a guy down the leg side or between his legs and the wickets, and he let it go through for 4 byes, and then he had a 4 the next ball to win the game. So they needed 8 off 2 balls, and also that last ball got dropped on the boundary and parried over for 4 as well. So it was like. That was a double whammy. That was a double whammy for me. Anyway, so when does that tour kick off? In a few weeks. When do they leave to Pakistan?
So I think they leave on the 21st, and then first test starts. I think it's Boxing Day or the 27th. Anyway,
a Boxing Day test in Pakistan, and how many tests?
2 tests.
2 tests. Any short forms or just 2 tests?
And then the 1 day is after that.
1 day is after that, and then they're back mid-Feb for England.
Then Sri Lanka later on the summer. I mean, the England series is the jewel of the summer, though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
By some distance.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be great seeing how that style of play that McCullum and Stokes. I mean, because just in watching those games in Pakistan, I just found them compelling fixtures.
Yeah. So
both
like,
of them, and wow.
Yeah, that's into that one. Another thriller in Multan.
Great game of cricket.
Yeah, well, I mean, they keep on doing it.
Yeah.
England. And, you know...
Roll the dice every time and it's coming up. It's tremendous.
And they're coming up gravy. It's starting to piss me off a little bit because when they said we've saved, you know, they come out saying they've saved Test cricket, I started to get really angry. I was like, pieces of shit, you haven't saved Test cricket. McCullum may have, and we may have by winning the World Test Championship. You know, the little Test team that could. And then they come along and, you know, score almost 600 in a day. I'll give you that. That was pretty good. But after this one, I'm like, Jesus Christ, these guys are on fire.
Yeah. And they did a very New Zealand thing, though, didn't they? Like, it started to get very tricky there on the last day, or it might have been day 4, actually, for them. Like, Saad Shakil was in the end, he was in a good partnership, and it looked like Pakistan were going to get over the line quite comfortably, and Stokes resorted to Wagner ball and got Mark Wood coming around the wicket.
Down leg side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Into the ribs, got 2 caught down leg side, one had a hint of the Greg Dyers about it.
There's more than a hint, wasn't there? I thought that was grass.
I love how it's called the Wagner style when it just used to be called Bodyline.
Yeah.
It's just being rebranded. It's just bowling bumpers at people's armpits. So yeah, that's going to line up. I mean, like you're saying, Alders, there's going to be a cracking couple of tests. One's a pink ball. Against England, is that the one? It's in the Mount.
At the Mount.
There's one at Bay Oval,
yeah.
And the other test is at the Basin.
Yeah, so Basin gets 2 this summer.
Yeah.
One against Sri Lanka, one against England, and then I think there's another one at Hagley against Sri Lanka. But yeah, that bodes really well just to see how what they do in the next steps and whether New Zealand can counter that. And the Southee element just adds more intrigue, really.
Yeah, totally. So let's change the topic a little bit into the Ford Trophy. Been watching much of that?
Well, I do.
Or listening? You can't really watch it unless you go on the live stream.
I haven't seen too many punters around the boundary rope either, just on the live stream.
I've watched an embarrassing amount actually on the live stream, but I am sick of the single fixed camera now. I'm desperate for a wide shot. Just every now and then you see the ball pop up in the air. And
well, I remember
the players converging, celebrating. You don't know what's happening.
Yeah. Well, you don't know. It's like
could be just one of those tournaments that get staged. You know, in the middle of the desert.
It's almost like commentating off tube because you don't know if it's gone for 6 or gone straight up in the air. So we often have caught a lot of sixes that just go straight up in the air and caught within the 20-metre circle. But what's actually happening in that competition, Dylan?
Well, it's a battle of good and evil at the top. Got Canterbury at first at the moment, but the good in CD is hovering. Northern Districts won just yesterday as well to push themselves right up there. But the story is the defending champions just had a miserable.
Who's that? Auckland.
Homeless start to the season.
So it's compounded by that, isn't it? No home ground to play on. That doesn't help things.
So what's their home ground at the moment? Colin Maiden.
Glenninnis Oval, yeah. Ooh. And it was just too wet. Well, if you've been outside in the past week and a bit, it's not getting any drier down there. So
oh my God,
they might not actually have a home ground for the season. It's feasible that they just flag it and just say we'll be a travelling team of.
What's the story of the Outer Oval? That's been taken out by concerts and various things as well, or
yeah, they had food trucks on there for about 2 weeks with Guns N' Roses and Billy Joel.
Billy Joel, yeah.
And also, I think they're building a bit of a new grandstand there as well. At the same time, they're taking the opportunity to build a little grandstand down the Outer Oval. I quite like going down the Outer Oval and watching a bit of.
I don't mind it when it's not peak hour, when there's not just traffic hooning down. Is it Sandringham?
Yeah.
Then it can be quite pleasant if you. Yeah, but I mean it's not. It's still a little bit embarrassing if you're the biggest in terms of population major association in the country, and that's the only ground you can really
rustle up. The only ones you can rustle up. Well, we should bring back Victoria Park. Bring back Victoria International Park. We need to arse off all that. Women's Rugby League Club and Grafton can just take a break for a while.
Steady on,
and all the dog walkers from Ponsonby can piss off. Actually, turn that into an international test venue, surrounded by corporates, and everyone says, "What about parking?" It's like, Auckland CBD has 22,000 car parks in it, okay? It is New Zealand's biggest car park, okay? There's no problems with the car park, especially in the weekends. Plus the transport hubs. Don't let me get started on Victoria Park. Let's go play out in Albany instead.
So, just very quickly, in the Ford Trophy, leading run scorer, D. Cleaver, Central District.
Yeah, I thought you were going to mention that.
Dane Cleaver.
Yeah, very good.
Will Young in third on 180 and a Cantab in between them. Jenny Shipley.
The ship.
Yeah, leading the wickets with 12. Seth Rance, CD, 11, and Jacob Duffy, who's had a very good season actually in red ball and white ball.
What's happened to Seth Rance? He was flavour of the month for a while there.
And then he's not, and now it's Blair Tickner.
Yeah, it's TikTok Tickner, and I love Rance because he reminded me of kind of Tom Martin with the bald head and the headband. But yeah,
Yeah, 2.0, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
That's true. Yeah. I did see too that in that Indy Wellington game, 381
Jesus.
Northern Districts.
Seifert.
Seifert getting 100.
Very quick ton.
There's another player.
That's a whopping total.
Fennell, I think.
Yeah,
got
90
odd off about
yeah.
50 balls.
Chin Allen. Phineas Slog.
Phineas Slog, yeah.
So, yeah. What happened? Again, Seifert. What's happened to him?
Very poor form.
Just poor form.
Yeah,
not getting.
just disappeared off the because Cleaver would be in front of him as a
White ball
white
option.
ball option. Yeah, now so.
That's a
dipped
shame.
away.
That's a shame because
he got isolated. He got left in India, didn't he, with COVID that time, and just
when everyone
a
thought,
roll with dice.
when everyone thought COVID would kill you, and everyone thought he was dying in a hotel room, and really he was just watching OnlyFans and drinking beers. Let's be honest, that's what he was doing.
Waiting!
Right, let's get into Dylan Cleaver's obscure players of the 90s.
Obscure players of the 90s.
Yeah, okay. I've got one for you today. Stephen Lynch. You might know his brother Rob, actually, who's floated around cricket circles for a while. I think he might have even done a little bit of player management.
Yep.
The reason I brought up Stephen Lynch is, in terms of obscurity, he's right on the borderline.
Yes, I've never heard of him.
He did play 24 first-class matches. He did score 1,263 runs, and he almost got 100.
1050 is not bad.
Not bad. But the reason I'm bringing him up is because one day I was travelling around in the car listening to ZB as you did back in the day, and it was Murray Deaker was on.
Yours, please.
And Murray Deaker, in between Noreen, yours, was going on about how it was ridiculous that Auckland only had one first-class team, that the time had come for Auckland to have two first-class sides, one based on the North Shore, one based in Auckland.
Yep.
Oh.
And the reason he gave was because there was just too much young talent like Stephen Lynch and Rob Jones Richard Jones, that weren't getting opportunities. And I remember listening to that and thinking, oh, wow, I've not heard of these guys. And so waiting expectantly for them
To blossom.
and become international players. One did.
Yep.
I think Richard Jones played a few tests for New Zealand.
Yep.
And certainly played a lot of cricket for Auckland. Stephen Lynch never quite blossomed in the way I think that Deeks thought he would. So he is a Cornwall stalwart, maybe, which would imply that he's born with a silver spoon in his mouth. So
Certainly is.
Assumptions.
so there you go.
Assumptions.
Stephen Lynch is my obscure cricketer of the 90s.
Look, I mean...
Top order player, wasn't he?
Yeah, top order bat.
Yeah.
Like Murray Deaker, mad as a cut snake. Was then, still is. He had some crazy theories, but that one doesn't seem that crazy to me. But given the size of the catchment of, North Shore and North Shore club cricket and everything, that kind of makes sense. They do it with rugby. With rugby, there's 3 teams in Auckland, but kind of makes a little bit of sense.
I'm liking Deeks' theory.
Yeah, I don't hate it. He had some crazy theories, especially around the biomag mattress and curing sleep and ailments. But this one actually had some legs. It's probably never going to happen now, but
I think as a radio host of that era, you had to have some crazy theories around health products.
Yes,
like
you did.
You had Deaker with the biomag, and you had Tim Bickerstaff with some of the herbal raindrops.
There's a lot
Herbal
of
Ignite or
Herbal
something?
Ignite, yeah.
there's a lot of bio oils, and there's also
Is
Bob
it like rain? Oh, rain.
and Bob and who was the golfer? Bob.
Bob Charles,
Bob Charles
Deer
with
Velvet.
the Deer Velvet.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh, we need to get into some supplements or something, don't we? We're just down the middle with Export Gold, lasagna toppers.
Oh, reasonable supplements.
We've got an underwear
Yeah.
sponsor now. Yeah,
Have you?
called Beneath Underwear.
Okay.
They're great. I've got one on now. They're underpants.
Lots of
that
support.
provide a pouch, like a bra for your balls. So you put it in an external pouch that sits out, not external, but internal, but external. That
Good for
provides.
cricket, like you
Yeah.
don't need to wear the second set of undies, or
No, it's not built. It's not a jock strap kind of
Okay.
that kind of vibe, but
Yep.
it just packages up and also presents it. They're called Beneath. Yeah, they're the official under. I'll get you a pair.
So
over
it's
this
like a
August.
wonder bra. Like it's
Look, I'll show you here. Look, see they're just.
more than I bargained for
Yep.
today.
They've got a little pouch at the front there. They can present it quite nicely at the front. But there's a little room in there that you just put them in there.
Yeah, it's good detail
Anyway,
there, mate.
so-
Thanks for that.
So I'll just put my pants. Put my
See,
pants.
this is this is something Paul Ford
This
never
is what
does.
I came for, eh? No,
You thought you were coming here for a deep dive with Kane Williamson.
Yeah, you get
But
Big Mike and Little Mike on the show. This is,
anyway, so yes, we've got no kind of medicinal, but we've got underpants.
Good stuff,
Underpants,
good stuff.
underpants,
Yeah,
and
that's-
lasagna toppers. Anyway.
Well, I did used to like Deke's theory of radio though. In that regard, you had to take you went hard at one angle or one side of it, and that because that's what generates talkback.
Oh.
You can't be middle of the road.
Absolutely, and his
you made
callers,
a career over decades to do that.
and he
you know?
refused to use the dump button. So for those people out
Oh,
there
that's
who are
great.
not a kind of au fait with radio protocol, 90% of talkback hosts have a delay. They've got a delay unit in there of about 5 to 6 to 7 seconds. So if someone drops a clanger or someone says something outrageously offensive, you've got 5 seconds to dump that call. Murray Deaker refused to use that. I'm not using that rubbish, no, my callers are honest, they've got an opinion, they can say it. But all it did was just set up people, and like I have to say, I'm being guilty of doing
truck and trailer?
doing a lot,
Yeah.
doing a lot of Murray Deaker phone calls, particularly when he was interviewing the likes of Dan Vittori and and asking a question of Dan live on air. But just like there was one guy one time who just led him down. It's on YouTube. Led him down the garden path. He's out and goes, "G'day, Murray. Look, it's Graham here from North Shore." And he goes, "G'day, Graham. Yours, please." And he's like, "Mate, look, I totally agree with you about this. About what the state of New Zealand rugby at the moment, full of fat cat bureaucrats." And he's like, "Yes, Graham. Yes. And he's like, "Yes." And he was like, and then he goes, "I've just got one thing to finish, Graham." And he goes, "What's that, Graham?" And he goes, "You're a bald cunt." And there's this huge silence, and he goes, "I've got a name for people like you, Graham." And he moves on. "Next, please." Then it was like, I was in the car just rolling around. It was so good.
Because you see that truck and trailer theory that if the first person goes in and gets dumped, then it takes ages to build up the 5 or 6 seconds again. So the second person, just on their shoulder,
comes in with the truck.
the lead out rider, and then sprinter over the top.
Oh, that's so good. I haven't heard the truck and trailer.
Yeah.
I haven't
Not
heard the
that
truck
I'd
and
advise,
trailer.
listeners and viewers to,
But Murray Deaker was great for it though, because he's just like,
That's awesome.
Oh, I forgot to mention about Stephen Lynch as well. My final most important note was he's now a manager at Crown Relocations. And it seems to me there's a real crossover between cricketers and logistics.
Oh, they got the logistical brain, or is this?
The night.
The night?
Sir Richard Hadley, was he a big Scott Pack? Or
He might have been Scott Pack, yeah. Him and
There's
Tomo.
That's right.
Sir Anamuku
Duck!
Stadium.
God, bring back the horrendous cricket-related TV ads. Stephen Fleming tried to. Him and Nathan Aspinall tried to with Fujitsu. But then they dumped them with bit of Fujitsu and got someone else. They came in with like beige on and they had gloves.
Yeah, there was a shocker from Sunrisers Hyderabad too. The entire...
Indian.
yes.
I'll give it to you.
Williamson was involved.
Yes.
He was a culprit on this occasion as well. So I think that might have been a removal company or...
Oh, no.
I
take
do you
it
know the
back.
one?
Yeah, there is a country that is holding true to the cricketing advertising, and that is India. Like, they've got some absolute crackers.
Some brilliant stuff. I remember driving along, is it Marine Drive in Mumbai? And there's a big billboard up, Chris Cairns and Daniel Vittori with toothbrushes like bats over their shoulders. Some dental company or something.
It's probably been there for like 20 years.
Stuff.
It hasn't moved. So we've got a bit of correspondence come in.
Yes, it relates to actually obscure players from last week.
Toppa Correspondence of the Week, brought to you by Leader NZ's Lasagna Toppa.
Yeah, and this is from Glenn, I think it's Shasha, who is the statsman at Counties Manukau Cricket, and if I pronounced that surname wrong, I'm sorry, Glenn. He says, "Hi, fellas. I'm the stats guy for Counties Manukau, so I wanted to give you a bit of local background on Adil Samani and Tamati Clark. Adil first played for Hamilton. We don't have all the Hamilton games online yet, but those that are, he played 24, averaging 31 with the bat and a century, and he averaged 42 with the ball. Why he did not play more than 8 games for ND, I'm not sure, but it may have had something to do with work. It was also a fairly strong ND side around that time, and Adil would have been competing with the likes of Shane Thompson, Chris Cairns and Grant Bradburn for the all-rounder spot. He moved up to Pukekohe around 2005 and played another 14 games for Counties Manukau in the district competition. He averaged 28 with the bat and 18 with the ball, which is very handy, you see. His value since has been as a coach. He coached Counties Manukau to their only Hawke Cup tenure in 2018, and he did indeed play with his sons at Puke Metro and still regularly plays in the Prem or Prem 2 to keep himself fit for the New Zealand over 50s. He just scored 91 over in Australia in a tournament. Adil's son Reid is the current captain of Puke Metro and plays for Counties Manukau and NDA. Not sure what Wade is doing. And Tamati Marcus Clark is one of the sons of T. Rao Clark, the New Zealand Maori and Counties flanker. Taina Clark is Tama's uncle and also played for the Maori and Counties rugby team. And there's some various stats here about Tama at Counties. Again, not sure the exact reasons why Tama did not play for more for ND, but it's always been really hard to break into the ND side with so many established players. So there you go. Tamati's brother Katani is currently playing for ND, and his other brother Hamaori played age level for Counties Manukau. All the Clark brothers have been attacking players with the bat. I haven't really answered your question about why Adil and Tama did not play more for ND, but I hope I have given you some insight about these guys at a district level. Well, Glenn, you certainly have given us insight on the career of Adil Samani.
Do you know, the BYC podcast has the most learned correspondence out of every podcast in the ACC suite. Like,
Isn't that brilliant? I just love that level of detail.
Good. It's so detailed and so nerdy. Like,
That's what you want, though. That's what we hear.
Yeah, it's next level. Like,
awesome.
Everyone else just gets abuse online. That's all they get, and you guys get correspondence every week. So that's I'm a little bit jealous, actually. You guys get that. But speaking of correspondence, you've also got a bit of an SOS from T-Bone.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from T-Bone Lane. We haven't heard from you in a while. He's a very good. Used to be a prolific emailer. Every week he'd fire off his little fish and chips from Whitby Diary. Haven't heard from you for a while, Chill. So let us know if we can throw a snag on the barbie for you this summer if you're back in NZ.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you know what, Tony Blaine? I miss the gifts you used to send us, because in the original BYC podcast and the BYC podcast, I'd like to challenge, it's probably New Zealand's longest running sports podcast. It has been going for about 20 years. And that's not an exaggeration, because it started with the Beige Brigade way back in the day with Paul Ford, I think Kevin Sinnott, and a few others down in Wellington, then transferred up, and it was
Jason Willis,
Jason Willis, yes, and there was myself, you, and
Jeremy,
and that's when
early adopters
T-Bone started coming in, and one Christmas he sent us bookmarks, handmade bookmarks that he'd made and laminated, and I still have them in my drawer. And someone was clearing, goes, "What's this?" I don't throw them out. They're Chill Blaine's bookmarks he made me one Christmas.
What a champion he is.
So I miss the presents. Maybe it's not because it's not on the BYC. He used to abuse me anyway on the BYC most of the times. I think he abused you for having marbles in your mouth most weeks.
He had no time for my delivery.
Very little time. But he was always very complimentary of Jay Wells. I think he may have had a small wide on for Jay Wells.
There's a twinkle in the eye.
Like we all do, though. So he's only human. Righto. Well, I think that is the BYC for this week. We hope Paul Ford and Jason Hoyt are better at home with the vid. It seems like everyone's got the vid at the moment. I've had it twice. I'm out. And that's probably it for the year, Dylan.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think we're all away next week, so we'll probably call it quits for 2022. Not a great year for New Zealand cricket, if we're being brutally honest about it.
Oh, no, I think if you're just being honest about it, I don't think it was great. It was
great year for the BYC, though.
Great week for the BYC. It's been a bit of a roller coaster, emotional roller coaster. Admittedly, Andrew Alderson, I don't know if you know, but I had to restart the Black Caps supporters support group during the year. It's been dormant for 5 years, and we had such a good run.
Yeah.
But Matt Heath, myself, and a few others, we just started to get that pang of the 90s and early 2000s again.
Stuff,
So we started the Black Caps supporters support group, where we can come and just talk about how the Black Caps hurt us. And unfortunately, we had to start it again this year. So hopefully we can put it to bed this year and not have to reconvene in 2023. But there's no domestic cricket. But early in the new year, the BYC will be back to review the Pakistan tour and have a look at what's going on there, the 2 test matches and the short form, and then into a cracking summer of England and Sri Lanka.
Yeah, so thanks, Alders, and Merry Christmas all.
Oh, thanks, guys. Lovely to be part of it. Nice to make a cameo off the bench.